Greetings, it's the 8th of September 2021, and what a difference one day makes, eh? Now we've got the strongest tropical cyclone on Earth is Typhoon Chanthu in the West Pacific. We'll get to Larry later, but this was some extraordinary intensification overnight. The big story is Typhoon Chanthu. It underwent an extreme intensification overnight. Explosive intensification, call it what you will, but the surface winds increased by 80 knots over just 24 hours. This intensification period has left the typhoon with an extreme and ominous look, with a so-called pinhole eye, and it's likely to have conditions within it similar to a huge tornado. The Joint Typhoon Warning Center have assessed the intensity at 120 knots within that tiny eye, and it's only about 5 nautical miles across. That makes it a Category 4 strength system, and on the cyclone scale, it would be Zeta class. Here's the Joint Typhoon Warning Center track, and they have it as a major hurricane strength system all the way to going between the Philippines, Luzon, and Taiwan, and then heading into China, but there is a lot of uncertainty in this region due to topography and other factors. Here are some of the model tracks, and you can see that there is a difference between all the way from a landfall on Luzon to a landfall in Taiwan. This is the latest Hurricane Wharf run, and you can see the system is being initialized at 918 millibars with winds over 100 knots. And as the storm comes up, this is one of the simulations that does take the storm into Taiwan, and you'll see a massive change in the system as it crosses Taiwan. There is landfall on the southeastern side of the island, and then as it goes over the central mountain range, you've got massive weakening, and the low that comes out on the other side is very weak tropical storm force. However, if the storm does not take this track into Taiwan and threads this gap between Luzon and Taiwan, then it could maintain a lot more intensity towards China landfall. To compare, we've got the European Center model that takes the storm between Luzon and Taiwan, and that one you can see maintains stronger intensity as it heads in towards China landfall. Although it seems like it's actually going up in the channel a little bit at the end there, maybe getting some deviation effects or getting sucked up by a trough. The other system in the West Pacific is Conson, and that is menacing the Philippines with tons of rain. And it is forecast to go into the South China Sea and intensify currently into a low-end typhoon, but we'll have to watch this one to see what happens as this heads towards Hainan towards the 12th to 14th of September and then into Vietnam, potentially bringing a ton of rain. Meanwhile, in the Atlantic, we've still got long-lasting Larry, which has weakened a little bit today down to 100 knots from yesterday, which makes it a Category 3 system, or Epsilon class on the cyclone scale. The storm is going up towards Newfoundland as a hurricane strength system in the long term, and that is Friday. Here's the infrared loop of Larry, looking a lot less organized than it was yesterday and the day before, but still a potent Category 3 storm. And up in the top left, you'll just make out Bermuda up here, so the storm tracking roughly in this direction. Here's the latest Hurricane Wharf, and we'll see the storm come up and then Bermuda pop in on the left there, and you can see Bermuda is out of the major, even the tropical storm force winds, it's out of that. The storm moves through, but of course throwing huge waves. The storm moves up, maintains hurricane strength, and then we're looking at there's Sable Island coming into the frame, and we're looking at the Newfoundland passage. If it makes it, it's just clipping the edge, and that is in the early hours of Saturday. Finally, let's check in on our South American storm, and we're into sort of phase 3, was it? This one is the big long band of thunderstorms. You can see all the lightning pushing up. And down here is Uruguay, up here somewhere is Paraguay, and we've got southern Brazil and northern Argentina, Chile over here. You can actually see the cooling temperatures on the Andes. So anyway, the next stage here is that there should be a surface low development down near Buenos Aires, and this should pick up a strong wind field coming in to Mar del Plata region. Let's just check that to finish up. Yesterday, in those strong westerly upper-level winds, mid-level upper-level winds behind the system, we caught a nice view with Sentinel-2 of these lenticulars over the glacial lakes of Argentina. Here are the surface winds with Uruguay, Argentina, Mar del Plata down here, and let's just put in a little pointer there and go forward. As we head into Thursday, you see the winds picking up, maybe slightly down from yesterday. No, it's still getting up to tropical storm force, and then the low moves off. Finally, very finally, we'll check the waves. The thing to note is just how quickly the waves pick up in this system, jumping up to about 10 to 20 foot in the highest regions, according to the ACMWF, and then they head off somewhere else. So on that note, I will leave it at that and see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.